What up, good people? Greetings and salutations. Today I'm going to show you how I prepare my tips before I get ready to make press-ons. So we're going to go ahead and use the Good Apres Gel X Double XL squares from Chon Legend. I'm going to grab my base gel from Couture and my liquid etch or tip primer from Apres. And you don't necessarily have to use this if you don't have it. Just make sure that you have a primer that is not, is acid free. So, because as you can see, this one is acid free. And then my good Sharpie. So before I get started, I go ahead and put my number on my tips. So this one is a 0, so it's gonna have a 0 on it. Then I grab my file, which this one is 150 by 150 from Couture. And now, the reason why I do this personally, it's just personal preference, personal experience, is I've noticed that, it doesn't matter how many coats, how thin it is, how many layers you don't put on, how many layers that you do put on, is generally any tip around this back half. For some reason, polish likes to well up there, and it doesn't really matter if you choose to go this direction first, cure it, bring this direction back to even it out. You always get that pool of polish, and it makes your shape a little off. So then you got to do some creative fouling, before you put your top coat on. So I found that this helps alleviate some of that. I won't say it gets rid of it completely, but it does help, because what happens is it takes away this little edge here. So we're going to go ahead and take our file, hold our nail out like this. And it doesn't matter, because this is every single nail that I do. It doesn't matter the shape, the length, whatever. I start back here and just kind of go. I'm not sawing. It's all in one direction. All in one direction. And I don't do it for a long time, because obviously you don't want to mess with the integrity of the nail, but now there is a slightly different profile. Now this back and the sides do have they'll curl under just a bit, as opposed to being just popped out a little bit. So now you have a smoother surface to work with. And looks like we got to get this last little piece here. All right, good deal. Now what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do it now, you can wait until after the nail is done, but I prefer doing it before, because I'm gonna be honest with you, by the time I get done, I'm mentally exhausted from all of the phenomenal creativity that happens when we make these sets. So I'm going to go ahead and etch the inside right now. And what I'm gonna do is take my Model XS, well, it would help, I guess, if I turned it the right way, my Model XS cordless e-file that I got from iGel Beauty, and I'm going to take a really simple, like, Bobo bit. I'm gonna assume it's a cuticle bit, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't seen a bit like this outside of Amazon since I bought it. So it's not really, like I said, I'm gonna assume it's a cuticle bit, but I can't make no promises. It's just, you want something that isn't sharp, doesn't have sharp corners like your regular, coarse bits. Even if you use the sanding bands, sometimes the sanding bands can be a bit much, even on a low speed and fine grit. So I found that this one works the best for me. So I'm going to go ahead and set my e-file to my RPMs, which I generally choose about 6, 7, because I don't want it to go super, super fast, but I want it to be fast enough to where I can get through all my nails at the same time. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And then I generally line my index fingernail up with the back of whatever I'm using, because I have long nail beds, so I guide where I'm gonna etch at based off of my nail beds. My fingernail starts here, because as you can see, I kind of got some length on it. My fingernail starts here, but my nail bed stops here. So that's about where I'm going to start. And I'm just gonna make a real quick line and go through. And the reason I do it like this is simply because you never know who's wearing your nails. It doesn't matter if their nail beds are short or long. But because I have longer nail beds, 9 times out of 10, I've etched enough to where it will adhere to the nail plate correctly, whether they use tabs or the glue that I send, nail glue, that I send in. And again, you don't want to sit there and apply too much pressure. You just kind of want to go back and forth and make sure you get your edges. And that's generally all you do for the etching process. We'll knock some of this dust off. Now, once the etching is done, you're going to go ahead and just mount it. If you use, I believe this is Loctite mounting putty. I notice that Loctite, sometimes depending on the lamp, you don't want it to stick to the etched portion because you will have a serious time getting it off. Some lamps do it, some lamps don't. So it depends on your lamp. Generally, I try, depending on the length, to butt it up to where I etched at, because generally it won't slide off. And then I just make sure that it's even so that when I do apply polish, it doesn't pull over to one side too much more than the other, because that'll cause that ledge too. Now, once I have everything mounted, I'm going to take my liquid etch or my tip primer. Again, if you don't have this, you can use regular primer as long as it's acid free. And we're going to just simply do this. I know it seems like you're kind of taking a double step, but to be honest, you're trying to alleviate some weight in the back so that the way it's formed isn't going to hinder the process when you're doing your nails, because like I said, you don't want to end up having to do like some creative filing to be able to make that smooth to where it doesn't look really super lumpy and bumped up on the sides once the person puts the nails on. Because of course, anytime that you do press-ons, the goal is always going to be to make it look as salon professional as possible. So now, once we go ahead and put our liquid etch on, I'm going to take my base gel, from Etch Couture, and then I'm gonna apply it on top. And you don't need a super thick layer. And I'm gonna be honest with you, yes, it looks like I got a lot on my brush, and at first I do, because I want to make sure I have enough to coat the nail. And the purpose of this is not builder gel. The purpose of this is to give yourself a flat canvas to work on, but also a sticky layer for your nail polish to adhere to. Yes, the liquid etch does help for adhesion, but this just gives you that little extra oomph to make sure that your polish sticks correctly. And even with fouling and cleaning up, it will help it keep from peeling up. No, you don't have to cap the edge, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the reason why is because once you clean up, you're gonna foul all that off anyways, so you don't have to necessarily 100% worry about that. Now, once all this is done, I personally like to let mine sit for at least 15 to 30 seconds so that it levels itself out, because it is slightly self-leveling. But as you can, it's not really thick at all. I didn't put a really thick layer on. I just put basically enough that when I start to polish, the polish can grip the base gel. Now that once I let it sit, I'm gonna pop this in the good UV lamp for 30 seconds. You can do 60 if you want, depending on your lamp wattage, but 30 seconds is generally good. It doesn't matter if it's 48 or 72 or whatever else in between. So now that we've done that, this is actually what it comes out like. And see, it's still tacky, even with me touching it. It's still tacky, so now it is definitely ready for your polish. So again, I've shown you what to do to get your nails ready. So just to recap, the products that you will need is your tips, your file. And again, it doesn't have to be the 150 by 150. It can be the 100 by 180 or whatever else. The point is that you want something that's rough enough that it only take a few passes to get off what you need to get off. And do not saw, just go through softly with a light touch and skate off. Your base gel, your liquid etch, or acid-free primer, and your Sharpie, and you'll be good to go. That's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Turn the notifications on because I'll be posting random videos. I don't have a set schedule yet. And hopefully, we can grow together. Thanks so much and enjoy the rest of your day.